Yes, what's happening, people? How are you? I hope you are all well. Hope you've enjoyed your day. And I hope that you're going to have a good, chilled out afternoon leading up to a fantastic evening. Champions League football's back. Kick back, relax, enjoy it, and look forward to what is, as a Gooner, a neutral evening where we can sit and chill out and watch some football. And then lead up to what will be a very, very interesting weekend of football for everybody. Now, tonight at 7 p.m., make sure that you are here. Make sure you like and subscribe and notification bells on, because tonight at 7 p.m., yes, you guessed it, Dan Lawless is back. He is back this evening at 7 p.m. with myself and with three other people that want to cook the hell out of him. D, the Palace fan, Don, the Chelsea fan, and Deji, the Spurs fan, are all going to be joining me for This Is London, and we are going to be here to do exactly what F-Man wants, and that is to cook Lawless. Listen, Lawless deserves a cooking, but trust me, he got one on Monday night, and I'm going to lay off a little bit tonight and let some of the others take a little pop at him, because West Ham deserve it. West Ham fans are in the mud. And Lawless, great sport. Big up to him. All right, that's what I'll say, because he could have hid. He could have said he was ill. He could have said he was away. He could have said he was busy. But he literally stepped forward and he took the cooking of his life. And if you haven't seen it already, we've clipped it up and it is there for you ready in the show. So make sure that you go and click on it after this one, because it's a well worth a watch. I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's good. Please do me a favor and hit a like on this video. Thank you to all of you that are here already, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because we are, as things stand, literally, let me check it. We are only just under 20. We're 16 away from 16k. Look at that, 16 away from 16k. So all you need to do is hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, which are both two things that are absolutely free. And if 16 people out of the ones that are just joining us, if 16 people can hit subscribe, we will hit 16k. Fantastic. That's what we need to do. So please make sure that you do that, people. Make sure that you support the channel. Our next target for our community is 20k. So please make sure that you are here for it. If you do want one of these canvases, please make sure you go and click the link in the description. It is an Instagram for Russell Hogg Photography. He will get you one of those. If you are a gooner, say Dan Potts sent me, he will sort you out. If you do like a bet, then it's bread and honey bets. And if you do like a football prize, then go to football prizes for our sponsors. That's the sponsors out of the way. Let's talk about football, shall we? Now, Arsenal have got a lot of injury news and an injury boost. Apparently, next month, all of our players will be back. So more on that for this show. And, of course, we're going to be talking about the interest of Kylian Mbappe, who apparently fancies Arsenal. Could you imagine? If Kylian Mbappe was to come to Arsenal? It would be absolutely madness, wouldn't it? There was a report suggesting that he might pick Arsenal, so there's going to be more on that for this show. Do me a favour, make sure that you come over to put some questions in our chat. It would be absolutely fantastic for you to put some questions in. Or a super chat. If you want to put a super chat in, you don't have to, but of course that goes to the front of the queue. So we'd like to take some questions from our chat, so make sure that you do that. If you put in a question, make sure you've got a Q at the start of it, because when they all start rolling in, it's really hard for me and they'll get missed. So if you just put a big capital Q at the start of it, then ask your question, we'll put it up on the screen and we will discuss. Well, let's start with the Kylian Mbappe stuff, shall we? Because there are reports from all over Twitter, all over social media, but this in particular from Miguel Delaney, who says that Kylian Mbappe would willingly join Arsenal. That is in part a question of legacy too, since it appeals to the player to follow the footsteps of Thierry Henry. However, Arsenal, like Liverpool, just didn't want him badly to break their entire financial strategy. Now, how true is this? Who knows? It says that in the Independent and also in some other sources that the PSG forward Mbappe would be willing to join Arsenal to follow the footsteps of Thierry Henry. And it's saying that over the summer, the expected cost of the deal could put Arsenal and Liverpool off. Now, that's obvious. If you go for Kylian Mbappe, yeah, you are going to have to pay him an unbelievable amount of money. So there is no way that anybody can tell me that Kylian Mbappe is linked with Arsenal and we're trying to sort out how much his wages are going to be. Maybe 200, maybe he wants 220, maybe he wants, let's just be real. If you're signing Kylian Mbappe, he ain't coming for anything less than 500 or 600k a week, because that's what Real Madrid are going to offer him. PSG will probably offer him that as well. Now, he's clearly going to turn down PSG because he wants Real Madrid. That's where I think he is Madrid bound. Now, People are saying, but Madrid are skint. Madrid ain't skint, right? Madrid are not skint. Madrid definitely have ways of bringing in money more than any other club in the world. And there's probably a little bit of corruption within them as well. So they could probably afford, if they wanted to go and get Haaland and Mbappe, and they still wouldn't probably break FFP. They'll find it out or work it out somehow. For me, I think he's going to be Madrid bound. Now, Madrid, I believe, if you want to believe the rumours, they're looking at Galacticos again. They want to get their side into Galactico. Mbappe would be one of them. I imagine Haaland will be on there in a couple of summers' time. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been linked with Real Madrid. There was movement a couple of seasons. Was it last season when Saka and Saliba were queried about whether they were going to actually sign? Of course, Real Madrid will move forward for Saka and Saliba. So they want to look at the next up-and-coming stars. Musiala, I imagine, will be on the list that they want to look at. They've already got, of course, Jude Bellingham. But when you look at Real Madrid and what they've had over the years, it's been probably, 2 decades, maybe a decade and a half since they have had those Galacticos of the David Beckhams, Luis Figos, Zinedine Zidanes, Raul, Ronaldos. They had those players back then, but we looked at it and thought, do you know what? In what they actually won, I wouldn't say they had Galacticos in the times that they won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. They had unbelievable players like Sergio Ramos and Varane as a partnership. They had the likes of Luka Modric in their balling and Toni Kroos, who they've still got now in their late 30s. But when you look at Real Madrid's side, you wouldn't go, okay, there's 9, 10 players that in the last decade of football have absolutely tore it up. And I think there's definitely a talent pool drop, in my opinion. Because if you look at the longevity of the 90s and the 2000s, how many players right now would be compared to some of those of the 90s and 2000s? If you look at the best players in the world right now, Haaland and Mbappe, they're probably the two that I look at and go, yeah, unbelievable, elite level. Probably going to be the next thing that's closest to the Ronaldo and Messi debate. I don't think they'll get to them levels, but they'll certainly be discussed as the 2 best players in the world. But when you go to the 90s and the 2000s, and you look at Raul and Ronaldo and Rivaldo and Ronaldinho and Romario and Thierry Henry and Vieira and Andrea Pirlo and Paul Scholes and Xavi and Iniesta and Messi and Ronaldo, and the list goes on. You've still got players like Seedorf that people don't forget about. You've still got players like Pavel Nedved. You've still got Alessandro Del Piero. You've still got players like Felipe Inzaghi, like Shevchenko. You've still got players like Francisco Totti. I don't know that there's that many you can reel off now from the 90s and the 2000s. Now, I understand that we're going back a long time there and over a longer period of time. But how are we actually looking at when we look at a talent pool right now? Because people are saying there's no strikers out there. There's nobody. It's Tony or Osimhen, but there's nobody else. Where are they all then? Where are they all? Attacking midfielders. Oh, there's loads coming through back in the day. Where are they now? Musiala and Bellingham are the 2 best in the world. Where are the others? It's Kevin De Bruyne, who's 32. What happened to Pedri and Gavi? Where are they? Are they just not as good as people thought they were going to be? Like, where are the attacking midfielders in Italy? Where are the attacking midfielders in France? Where are they in Germany? There's not that many, is there? So there's a huge talent pool when you look at the attacking options at clubs. And then you go back to defenders and you think, Saliba, he's not the best in the world. All right, name me 6 centre-backs better than him. Because it should be easy. Because in the 90s and 2000s, when you could reel them off, like Carlos Puyol and Paolo Maldini and Fabio Cannavaro, and that's without the English ones of John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, even the Jamie Carragher's and Sol Campbells and Tony Adams of this world, you could reel them off and say fair play. And then you can go a bit further and go Company and Van Dijk. But now, how many are there? Because Van Dijk apparently is one of the best in the world still, and he's 32. So where are all the centre-backs? Ruben Diaz, Gvardiol, people mention, Saliba, Militiao. But where are the centre-backs that are top 10 centre-backs in the world? Who's getting in? I could name you 10 that are elite, if I'm honest. So I just think there's a talent drop, man. I really do. But Mbappe and Haaland are 2 of the best in the world. Would Kylian Mbappe look at Arsenal? Does Dan Potts think Mbappe's coming to Arsenal? No, is the answer, right? No. Would he be interested in choosing Arsenal? Let me be real. Would Kylian Mbappe be interested in Arsenal Football Club? Yeah, I think he probably would. Would he be interested in Arsenal as the only club? No. If he said, or his agent said, you can move, but it's only Arsenal that's interested, I don't think he'd scoff at it, but I think he'd be disappointed and he'd make the debate of, where am I at? Do I stay at PSG and win trophies and potentially try and win a Champions League? Or do I go to a new project over in England, live in London and then be surrounding myself with players that are similar age to me, that have similar ambition to me in terms of getting to the elite, and that also have the kind of follow the footsteps sentimental value of Thierry Henry as his hero. I think you'd probably look at that and think, do you know what? I like where they're going. But what would definitely convince and seal the deal for him 100% is if we won the league and or the Champions League. I think that would then allow us to be right in the mix. If Arsenal win a Premier League and a Champions League, we can go up to PSG, we can go up to Mbappe because he's free and say, right, this is what we're giving you. Yeah, we're going to give you X amount of money a week. Real Madrid are going to be interested in you. And if you want to go over there, I understand why. Biggest and best club in the world and in history. But we want to come here. So, yeah, I'm kind of thinking he's Real Madrid bound and he's going to go Spain. That's where I'm at. Give me 2 minutes, people. I've just got to look at this message. And then I'm going to take some of your questions, which I'm seeing nicely come into the chat. Where are we? Oh, okay. Okay, so I can see some questions. Let's get through some of your questions. Do you know what? There's actually some comments in the chat that I'm going to throw up as well, aren't just questions. This one comes in from N17. Gunnar says, must be PR from the team, Mbappe to get more wages. Nando the Gunnar says, big up yourself, mate. Says, I see Arsenal going for him, but if we did, we wouldn't buy anyone else unless we sold a few players. That would leave us short again for the season. It depends how much he wants a week. If he's saying I want 800k a week, then yeah, of course, it's going to be ridiculously difficult. When we look at the situation of how much that would cost us, if you want, say, 450, 500k a week, then they ain't going to take all of our money away because it's just a wage bill. It's not a big money signing as well. But can you imagine? Getting the Ivan Toney striker and you getting Mbappe? And people are saying, why don't you get Mbappe and that's it as your striker? We could do that. It's not like he plays left and that's it. We're going to have to try and force him up top. I'm sure he can play up top, but actually when you look at it, he can probably allow some players to move around up there. Kylian Mbappe walks into the side. So that's the way that I see it. Where else are we, man? There's a few more that I need to start here before we get it. Dims says Mbappe isn't coming. The Mbappe thing must be a ploy to get more wages out of Madrid. Why would Mbappe go to Arsenal? Like I say, I don't think he is, but that is the rumor at the moment. Pavel Nedved was sick. Yeah, do you know what? He was, but I still can't get over the fact that he won Ballon d'Or ahead of Thierry Henry. I cannot believe that. It wasn't the Ballon d'Or, was it? You know what it was? Used to be back then. It was World Player of the Year and European Player of the Year, which I thought was pretty much the same thing. If you're the European Player of the Year, you're pretty much the best World Player in the Year, in my opinion. But that's the way I see it. Right, I've started the comments. I've started the questions. Let's go through some of them. This one comes in from Randy, who says, what's your opinion on Ben White taking slow throw-ins and getting booked for taking too long? It's so frustrating. Surely Arteta would hurry him up if it's not some planned strat. Listen, I don't really get time wasting anymore because the referees just add it on anyway. So I understand we used to be able to get away with it, but we saw since the World Cup that they just had this ridiculous amount of time on anyway. So taking slow throw-ins for me is just a little bit silly now, if I'm honest with you. So that's where I'm at with that one. Going to take a couple more questions, but we're going to move on to our next point. After this Mbappe rumour, it made me think, actually, let's look at what players are actually due back. And Arsenal are actually due a big injury boost. In the next month, apparently, we should have all of our players back. Now, of course, in that time, I believe that there's going to be a few other players that are going to get injured, right? I believe we're going to have a few other players that are going to be injured. I believe that by the time we get, let's say, Jesus Zinchenko party back, we're probably going to lose Martinelli and Trossard, something like that. Yeah, that's what happens in football, unfortunately. But the good news is that they are around the corner from coming back. And players like Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko apparently are not too far away. Tomiyasu, likewise, is now back from the Asian Cup and only missed out through fatigue. Apparently, I don't know how he's tired, but there we go. I also believe that there's some positive news on Partey and Timber. I still don't know when they're due back, but I don't think it's long. And Smith Rowe can't be long either if he's rolled his ankle. The other player that I have to mention that everyone's forgotten about is Fabio Vieira. Now, where the hell is Fabio Vieira? Where is Fabio? Is he on the surgery table still? Is he just on the physio table and getting recuperation? Is he receiving any physiotherapy to try and get him within playing distance in the next couple of weeks? I have no idea. We have absolutely no idea. And this is why sometimes I find frustrating. They just rock up one day and they're back. Or we have the team news come out and there's someone on the squad back. And you'll think, whoa, I didn't know he was back. There's no real transparency of how long some of these players are out for. And then people get in the chat and people come on social media and go, yeah, they do. We know that they're they're having surgery at this time. And we know they're back there. No, you don't. You have no idea the game that Timber's returning. No one can tell me. Nobody can tell me what game Partey is going to play back when he comes back. Nobody can tell us when Zinchenko and Jesus are back. Nobody actually knows at this club. It's all a guessing game. And I just wish sometimes people give a little bit of an inkling. A little bit of an inkling. He's 6 days away and then we're going to assess him even. And that doesn't mean he's playing. That just means that he's got the opportunity to be fit for that game. We don't get anything like that. It's mad. Big up Ronnie, man. It's always nice to have a different opposition fan on here, particularly a rival fan. As a Spurs fan, hope you're well, bruv. Says 10 centre-backs as good or better than Saliba is Diaz, Stones, Ake, Van Dijk, Romero, Van de Ven, Martinez, Silva, Konza, Akinarte. Oh, bless. Listen, Ronnie, I do love you. But out of all of those defenders, the ones that I would say currently, right now, that are on par with Saliba are Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Virgil van Dijk, and that's it. Kenyatte, I think he's a very good centre half, and I think he will definitely be well up there. But I haven't seen him as consistently as I have Saliba. Konza, I think he's a really underrated centre back, but he ain't on Saliba's level. Thiago Silva's 40. Enough said. Brilliant centre back over the years, but Saliba all day long. Martinez, nah, not for me. Don't want a 5'7" centre half. Van de Ven, I think he looks very good. Romero, nah, just too rash. You can't have a centre half that gets sent off every 4 games. That's just not going to happen. Brilliant passer of the ball, old school aggressive defender, but needs a calming head next to him. And that's why Van de Ven is a better footballer and a better defender than Romero, 100%. But I'll give you Diaz and Stones because, of course, they've gone and won trebles. So absolutely fair play. But yeah, hilarious. Konza has got in there somehow. And Thiago Silva and Martinez. But Ronnie, I do love you and thanks so much for watching and thank you for the comment. This next one comes in from Kieran. Big up, Kieran Hayes. Big up to you, bro. Says, Dan, what's your thoughts on Rio's comment about Saka? Okay, this is a really good question. I didn't lose my head about this. I did not lose my head about this because for me, he's kind of right. He's kind of right. I think the way that it was delivered was wrong, but I think what he was saying was actually not far wrong. So I think Phil Foden is an extremely talented player. And when you do it on the world and international stage, you're kind of seen as world class. Saka, he's saying, has not quite done it at that level yet, so he's not world class. But Foden's won trebles and he's done well for his country and he's done well for his club and he deserves to be sitting there with medals around him. And Saka's not there yet. He hasn't done it at Arsenal and he's got into the team of England in the last 2 seasons and has been one of the best players. I kind of get what he means, but this is where people are so lost with this. Define world class. Here's a task. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching this, people, comment below. Definition of world class. Go. What's it mean? Nobody can tell me. Because the definition of world class to me might be different to somebody else. The definition of world class, Messi and Ronaldo. No, they're not world class. They're best in the world or greatest of all time. Okay, so what's world class? It's if they can get into a world 11. No, it's not. It's if they're the top 3 players in their position. No, it's not. It's if they can walk into any team. No, it's not. It's if they can walk into any squad and make it better. No, it's not. It's if they can be in the top 5 of their position. No, it's not. It's everybody has a different definition. So what is world class? Nobody has a clue what it is. So the comparisons of Saka and Foden are fine, but trying to say that one's world class and the other one isn't, I don't really get that for me because I don't know what the definition of world class is. If somebody can say to me, the definition of world class is the best in your position, then we can debate whether Foden and Saka are world class because the answer would be no. Because I don't think Phil Foden has a set position and I don't think that Saka's the best right winger in the world. So therefore, are they world class in that definition? No. If you said to me, as a right winger, is Saka one of the best 5 in the world? The answer would be yes. So does that mean he's world class if he's in the top 5 in his position? If you said to me, does Saka improve anybody in the world of football? The answer would be yes. So does that mean he's world class? This is what I don't get. When people say to me, think he's world class, define world class. Oh, I don't know. Don't know what world class means. Well, I can't answer the question then. So for me, when you're doing it on the world and international stage, surely that is a player that has to be considered top class. Whether it's world class, whether it's elite level, whether it's best in the world, whether it's right now the best in your position, I don't really care. All I know is that Saka and Foden are both English and they're going to have an unbelievable career for their club and country. And I think together it's going to be brilliant to watch them in a Gareth Southgate side this tournament that I think will probably go and win the Euros. And if it doesn't, Southgate really ain't as great as what people say, and I don't really rate this guy at all, if I'm honest with you. So let's see. When you've got Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, and Saka in your team to pick from with Kane up top, yeah, man. Let's be real. You're picking probably the best striker on form in the world right now, Harry Kane, the best attacking midfielder on form right now in Jude Bellingham, one of the best attacking midfielders alongside him in Phil Foden, one of the best right wingers in Saka, and then you haven't even touched the sides with the likes of Maddison, Grealish, Rashford, Ivan Toney. You've also got in midfield Declan Rice, one of the best holding midfielders in world football right now. It's crazy. It really is. So we have to go and do it, man. We have to go and do it. Let's take some of your questions as well here. Big up, Kieran. This one comes in from Cello, says, would you take Thuram from Inter? Do you know what? I'm a big fan of Marcus Thuram and always have been when he was at Borussia Mönchengladbach. And I must say that when I looked at him and his performances playing left wing and up top, I really liked him. But I don't think I'd take him because I don't think he's a player that I'd look at ahead of the likes of Tony or Osimhen. Or Mbappe, who, of course, we're mentioning today, who is linked with Arsenal and said that he would fancy Arsenal, which is absolutely crazy, but we'll take it. Big up to Ash, who's going to be the next question. Before we do take his question, make sure we get us up to 100 likes, people. We're only at 68. There's 250 of you in here. Please make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. We are very, very close to 16K. In fact, how close are we? Let's have a quick look. We are 4 subscribers away from 16K. Just 4 of you to hit the subscribe button, and we're there. And it's free. Yeah? Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and we hit 16K. And we're done. And then I'm happy. And then we go to 20K as the next target. I like to try and get to 16, 17 each time that we do it. But 20K is obviously our main target. But please, if you can help, guys, serious talk, a quick like would be amazing. A subscribe would be even better. We're now 2 away. Who's going to be number 16K, man? Who's going to be number 16K? Let us know in the chat who's number 16. Go, quickly. You got to be quick because there's only 2 left. Surely there's only 1 left now. Who's going to be number 16K? There's 1 more left. Who's going to be it? Number 1, man. All you got to do is hit subscribe. And whoever hits subscribe next is going to hit 16K for me. Who's going to do it? Come on. Let's see if we've got there. Surely you have. Yes! Let us know in the chat who hit number 16. We're at 1601 now. So whoever's hit number 16, big up to you. Well done. Where are we? Who's got it? Subscribe, people. No one's going to tell me who's done it in the chat, but one of you have. So one of you's got to 16K. Thank you so much. Honestly, that means the absolute world. To hit 16K this quickly is really amazing. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that, guys. And make sure you like the content as well. John Boy Cat, it was me. John Boy, you're a legend. Thank you so much. Everyone's saying me. Everyone thinks it's them. Listen, it's all of you because you've all made me get to 16. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Ash, let's put your question back up, my bro. Ash says, I think he would want to join us, but I don't think we can afford his wages. He's a free agent for foreign clubs now. He is a free agent, and I do think we'll be able to afford him. The problem is, will we be able to convince Mbappe that this is the right project for him? Because we don't really have the European heritage or the Premier League title, while our last bit one being 2 decades ago, to suggest that this is the right move for him. And that will be a problem. However, he will look around and he'll see a bright future at Arsenal, whether it's with or without Mikel Arteta, whether it's with or without all of these players. He will definitely see in the next 5 years that Arsenal will have a real good side that will have an unbelievable future. And I think that is key to trying to convince him. We've obviously got the Thierry Henry and the Wenger and the French link. I think that does play a little bit of part, but I don't think it's massive sentimental value. But I do think he'd be interested in coming, Ash. I really do. So I kind of feel that is the things that we have got going for us in terms of positives, bro. So we'll see where we're at. Denver says, all things be equal, how many players do we need for next season and what positions? If we want to compete with Manchester City, I've made it clear on this channel what we need. Right now, the clear and obvious gaps are adequate cover for the following positions and the following players: William Saliba, Partey, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, and Gabriel Jesus. 5 players. 5 players. And those 5 players, in my opinion, that we need to go and sign are Ivan Toney, Pedro Neto, Yusuf Fofana, Zubimendi, and Diamande. We go get Diamande from Sporting Lisbon. We don't have to worry about Saliba getting crocked because he can play there as a right centre back. We go get Zubimendi. That's your Partey replacement. If you keep Partey for his final year, which I don't think we will, or Jorginho for another year, you've got some cover there. Declan Rice is there and Fofana's there as a box-to-box cover, so you bring him in. Pedro Neto's there to replace an upgrade on Reece Nelson. And then up top, you've got Ivan Toney, who can replace. Now, there's a few players that are being mentioned in the chat that I do want to bring up before I bring another question up, because I love what I'm hearing in the chat, particularly this guy. I think this would be a fantastic player that would upgrade upon Fabi Vieira and potentially Kai Havertz or Smith Rowe, whoever you want to throw in there, that you believe is the player after Martin Odegaard. Xavi Simons, I really like him, man. I really like him. I think he's a top talent and one for the future. He, I believe, is at PSG. He's on loan, I think, at Leipzig. Would they sell him? Potentially. Depends who they're bringing in. But I do think that we've got a chance of getting somebody like that. I really do. So I think that's a really good shout. A really good shout. The other player that I would absolutely love us to sign is De Jong. Now, I like Frankie De Jong, and I think he's an absolute baller. I don't always think he's been complimented at Barcelona. I don't think that things are great over there or amazing over there. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be able to kill it with a manager like Xavi and with players like Gavi and Pedri, but all I will say is that I do think De Jong has unbelievable potential to be a really good midfielder. And when I saw him at Ajax, I just thought, wow, you are head and shoulders above everybody. And I can't help but think that a midfield of Declan Rice, Frankie de Jong and Martin Odegaard looks very good for the near future at Arsenal. So maybe that's one to watch. And I know for a fact that we were interested in de Jong and this guy, Xavi Simons, as well. Now, I'm not saying that we wanted them or we're going to go and get them. We rejected it. But actually, when you look at who we have looked at and scouted before, it definitely has been both of those players. Now, Neto is injury prone, but he wouldn't be as dependent upon as he is at Wolves. I personally agree and think that Neto is definitely an injury prone player. But look at how good he is, man. You know, Michael Olise is another one, but he's always injured too. So our players are always injured. I don't think we can look at players anymore and go, oh, they're injured. They're injured. Everybody I know gets injured. So I think that's the way it is. Frankie de Jong, apparently in an interview in 2018, Ajax said he likes Arsenal. Yes, he did. And do you know who he compared it to? Mark Overmars. I would like a career like Mark Overmars. And his career was Ajax, Barcelona, and where? Arsenal. So I'm saying, man, let's see what happens. Adam Jones says, Branthwaite, De Jong, Elise and Isak. Oh, do you know what? That is unbelievable summer if that happens. Wow. I mean, what a summer. That would be absolutely incredible. So fair play to you. That's where I'm at. Nando the Gunner says, Dan, I prefer that doesn't let teams make plans for us about the injuries. Yeah, injuries are always going to happen in football. They're always going to happen in football. And unfortunately for Arsenal, we have bought some players that were not injury prone, that have become injury prone, i.e. Timber, Tomiyasu, Partey, Smith Rowe. The list goes on. We didn't buy Smith Rowe, but you get my point. We've had a lot of injury problems. Nathan, big up yourself, or Niffin, sorry, says, Dan, are you going to watch the PSG versus Sociedad game, keeping a close eye on Zubimendi? Listen, I have started to watch some games of Zubimendi and I've started to look at some of his highlights and some of his attributes, and I really like him. I think he's a very, very neat, tidy footballer. Little bit of a Jabi Alonso type, if I'm honest, a little bit more deep lying, not the physical presence that you look at as somebody like a Patrick Vieira, but I love him on the ball. I think he's a really good passer of the football. I think he breaks up play well, and I think he controls football games. And it's a little bit of a puppet master putting the strings in midfield there. And I believe, if rumours are correct, that we have agreed a £50 million release clause deal for the summer. And if that happens, I think it'll be a good signing because it's a midfield area that we definitely need to strengthen. So Zubimendi, 100%. Let's go to this one from Niffen as well. No, that's the same question. There was another one that I saw in here somewhere. Let's have a look at this. Jesse Randolhoff says, Dan, do you think M11 that's Martinelli, I guess. Is it? Yeah, it's better than Walcott. Theo Walcott was a very underappreciated player at Arsenal due to the amount of goals that he got. However, if you look at his playing time in 10 seasons at Arsenal, was it? He got 100 goals. That average is 10 a season, which is good in terms of if it was a consistent. But when you look at how long he actually is, maybe I'm being harsh. Actually, I am being harsh. Theo Walcott was a good player. He was a good player. Martinelli, I think, will have a better career than Theo Walcott, is I think what you're asking. I think he is a better footballer, yeah. I think Martinelli's a better footballer. But Walcott was a very good player for Arsenal and actually scored a hell of a lot of goals, so deserves a hell of a lot of credit. So, fair play. Curtis Jones, one, it's not happening because Liverpool wouldn't sell him to us. And two, I'm not sure that I want him. I think we could get better than Curtis Jones. Very good footballer. I think he's actually a lot better technically than I ever give him credit for. I've been really impressed with his improvement this season and how he's kind of moved on. But if you think that Arsenal are going to be sold these players, they're just not going to do it, people. We're not going to be able to go and sign Alexander Isak. Newcastle aren't going to send him to Arsenal. We're not going to go and get Curtis Jones if we want him because Liverpool won't send him to Arsenal. We wouldn't be able to go and get, if we wanted him, Marcus Rashford because Man United wouldn't send him to Arsenal. I don't want him, by the way, but some fans do. That just isn't going to happen for me. It really isn't going to happen. Niffin says, would Joachim Anderson be a decent cover for Saliba compared to Diomande, who's younger and comes from a weaker league? Yes. He is a fantastic player. Really like Anderson. Think he's a great centre-back. But Diomande, I don't care about the league. I've watched him and he looks like an absolute monster. What a beast. I would take him because I feel like at 19, he can grow and potentially look to force one of our centre-halves out in the near future. Now, I wouldn't touch Gabriel and Saliba at the moment and even think about breaking them up. But you want people on their toes. And at the moment, Jakub Kivior and, well, no one. Jakub Kivior is the only one. We haven't got a right-sided centre-back. We've got one of Tomiyasu, Ben White or Timber that has to shift over. So we haven't even got a right-sided centre-back cover. So that's the way I see it. Last question of the night is from Arsenal Forever, who says, who in this squad would you sell in the summer or think that Arsenal would sell? The following players should leave or be sold. The following players. Cedric needs to go. Nuntavage needs to go. El Neni needs to go. Partey needs to be sold. Jorginho may need to go. Fabi Vieira may need to go. Smith Rowe may need to go. Or one of those two. Reece Nelson needs to go and play football. And Eddie Nketiah needs to go and play football. Marquinhos needs to be sold. That's 10 players. Now, we're not going to get rid of all of those 10. Some of those will stay. It might be that Jorginho signs another deal. It might be that Partey does get himself fit and has an unbelievable end to the season and we keep him. It might be that we find, Lokonga is another one that needs to go. So that's 11 players that Arsenal have. Charlie Patino needs to go. That's 12. So there are 12 players. Kieran Tierney needs to go. That's 13. So there's 13 players at the moment that Arsenal have that could be sold and we could make a hell of a lot of money for. Now, we're not going to make 20 million on every single one of those. We're going to make 5 million here, maybe a couple of million there. We might make 10, 15 on some, 20 or 30 on others, maybe 40 on a couple. But they need to be going and playing football. And we need to upgrade those players, with some of the positions that I've mentioned. Now, the reason we don't need to sell 13 players and buy 13 players is some of those are just not needed at the club. You can only have 25 players. Now, when you think about it, when Arsenal have a fully fit squad, we've got a really good 11 that I wouldn't want to get rid of any of them, right? On that bench, currently, you would have 7 players. Those 7 players will probably be Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, because I think Timber will start at left back. In midfield, Jorginho would be one. The other one would probably be Kai Havertz. That's 5. And then you'd probably have Trossard and Smith Rowe at the moment as the other one. So that's 7. There's no Fabio Vieira mentioned there. There's no Reece Nelson mentioned there. There's no Eddie Nketiah mentioned there. There's no Nuntavage, Lokonga, Kieran Tierney, Cedric, El Neni, Jorginho. I did mention Jorginho, sorry, on the bench. So there's potential there to get rid of those 5, 6, 7 players I've mentioned. So I believe that there is some wiggle room. And there is some players we can get. It might not be enough money. Cedric and El Neni are going to go. We're going to get nothing for them. But let's say that, I don't know, £7 or £8 million comes in for Nuntavage. 8, 9 million, £10 million comes in for Lukonga. Money comes in for, let's say, Jacob Kivior at 25 million. Money comes in for Reece Nelson at 15 million. For Smith Rowe at 35 million. For Fabio Vieira at 30 million. For Eddie Nketiah at 25 million. I would say yes to those sort of prices. I would. 35 million for Partey. I'm going to take it from Saudi Arabia. Jorginho, if someone comes in and says we'll give you another 10 million for him, I'm going to say yes. So I look at it and I feel like, yeah, there's definitely options to try and sell some players. Actually, Jorginho, I think his contract's up as it goes. So we wouldn't get any money for him. But you get my point. You get my point. There's some players that we could actually sell and get some serious money for. So that's it, people. Make sure you do me a favor. Like the video. Subscribe. Thank you to everybody that got us to 16K. That is an amazing, amazing feat to get to. I'm so pleased. And I really do respect every single one of you that's hit that subscribe button. And since been talking to you, there's another 20 of you that have done so. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that. It does mean the world. Hit the like button as well. Make sure the likes are up, people. We're at nearly 250 of you still here, even as we speak. We're only at 125 likes. So let's make sure we can get that up to 200, please, people. All you got to do is hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join us at 7 p.m. If you come over now, you'll see myself, Kenny Gal. It's going to redirect you over to his stream. So please make sure that you come join us there to talk all things football. If you didn't see the show from last night, then make sure that you do go check it out. And tonight at 7 p.m, set your notifications because Dan Lawless is back with me, D, Don, and Deji. Don't go anywhere, people. See you at 7.